Hey, we just want to break into the episode. The episode's going to start real soon. We just want to say a quick word about a very close friend of ours.
That's right. Daryl Grove of Total Soccer Show. If you guys do not know, if you don't listen to that show, or if you haven't followed us on social media.
What rock are you living under?
Exactly. But Daryl Grove of Total Soccer Show, who are friends of ours.
We went on tour with him.
Yes.
And Taylor, they were both
and
there.
Taylor, yeah, but they are very much family to us, especially after that tour that we did last summer. But I mean, look, if you haven't heard, clearly there's a serious issue going on right now.
Yeah, he has revealed on his show that he's been diagnosed with stage 4 liver and colon cancer. A serious situation. First of all, I want to thank all the fans that we retweeted out the GoFundMe. They started a GoFundMe. Everyone, I think it's over $77,000 if I'm not mistaken. Absolutely incredible.
The support from the soccer community has been absolutely beautiful.
It's been wild. And we want to thank all of our fans who retweeted it and gave out. And we also just want to say that, dude, Daryl is an extremely strong person. He is one of the people that I have zero worry about when it comes to something like this. He will fight this thing through and through. He has a great spirit, but we just want to send a shout out to everyone that we know that gave him love. And we want to send a shout out to Total Soccer Show and specifically to Daryl Grove. You're one of our closest friends in this entire soccer community. We wish you well. We're going to be there every step of the way. And we want to thank everyone that we know that found them maybe through us or found us through them that has done something positive. Look, if you can't give, you retweet it. That's all you got to do. If you don't have Twitter, then tell someone you know who does to retweet it. That's all you got to do. Keep this thing going. Let's get him relieve as much stress for him and his family as possible. This is a serious situation and he needs all the help he can get, and we're here for him. And also thank you to everyone just in the general industry. It was amazing to see Men in Blazers, Alexi Lalas, everyone. Yeah, that's right. Everyone was sending out love. And if you can't give money, that's fine. But everyone was retweeting it and trying to help. And that's huge.
And and it is beautiful to see. And we met Taylor and Daryl in Philadelphia for the United
Soccer Coaches Convention. Yeah.
And we knew, we listened to the show. We casually sort of knew each other online and stuff like that. But after we decided, hey, maybe we should do a tour and see what this is like. Honestly, I mean, they are genuinely a pair of our best friends, right?
Absolutely.
And we wish them nothing but the best. I know this is going to be a very challenging time, but again, if you'd like to donate, go to it's on GoFundMe, but it's
also our Instagram.
Our Instagram link is the GoFundMe link. So just on Instagram at @SoccerCooligans, you can just see the link right there and just click on it and feel free to donate or share, as Alexis mentioned. But do
both if you can donate. Also share it. Let everyone you know that this exists, and let's give him as much opportunity to sort of relax and just fight the cancer and not worry about those bills that are coming.
Exactly. So we love you guys for listening. We love you, Daryl, Taylor, Total Soccer Show, all the people who listen to Total Soccer Show and who heard about us, because without TSS we wouldn't be where we are as well. I mean, they've been incredibly supportive of what we're doing, and we want to help Daryl in his time of need. So go to that GoFundMe link on our Instagram page and feel free to donate.
Today on the episode, oh my God, so many fun things happening. It's one big segment.
Well, big ass
segment. Oh yeah, it's a big ass.
It's
segment.
a big ass segment.
Oh, wait till you see it. It's beautiful.
This segment got a badonka.
Yeah, damn. This segment needs to back that segment up. So we talk about so much. We talk about U.S. men's national team. We talk about weird things happening in the league with transfers that did not happen.
That's right. We also get into some Liga MX MLS news. We try to figure out what the hell happened to Jovinko, and is he the greatest that has ever done it? Also, we are joined for the entire episode by the one and only Aaron West.
This segment got a wagon.
All this and more today on the Cooligans.
Hey, this is Alexi Lalas. There is nobody in U.S. soccer that is more important than the Cooligans.
Yeah, baby!
We got a third person screaming today.
Yes, finally. It's not just me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. This is exciting.
That's right. This has never happened before.
What has never happened before?
We've got someone who's sitting in on third mic. Actually, yeah, we had Kirby. Way back. For all the day one.
We've had other people, but it's not a regular thing.
No one's ever sat in on the first segment, and that's 100% true. No one's ever said it.
I feel like that's
All right,
wrong.
could you just for the fans?
But
just for the show.
I don't want to. Welcome to the show.
Every day it's like this. Every damn day.
Aaron, you're starting to understand what I got to go through.
We usually
He's
just
out here fact checking for no goddamn reason.
we just start the show by fighting each other. Welcome to the show, everybody. We are the Cooligans. My name is Christian Polanco.
My name is Alexis Guerrero.
And today we are joined by a third mic. We are joined by
I am Aaron West.
Aaron.
There he is.
This is your favorite. We are your favorite stand-up comedians. I mean, Aaron is not a comedian, but he is a very, very funny person.
You're funny, dude.
We are your
Comedians
favorite.
just told me I'm funny. I literally I'm taking that for the rest of the week. That's
But is it true? We're finding out in a second.
This is the trial, okay? We are your favorite stand-up comedians that host a soccer podcast. And then this is not only the funniest soccer podcast that you've ever heard of. It is also what, Alexis?
I want to make sure everyone knows it definitely is the funniest. But
Yeah.
it's not just that. You're right. It's also Aaron knows it's the gulliest soccer podcast. Everybody gets it.
That's right. And
Everybody gets it.
we are excited to have a guest here, and we'll talk to him in detail a little bit because you've heard Aaron West on the show. But Aaron, how do you feel about being asked to come here today, especially under the circumstances that you were brought here under?
I feel honored, to be honest. Like, Alexis hit me up. He was like, yo, you trying to come on the show?
That's how we do
I was
it.
like,
in there.
yo.
I sent 3 blank texts.
I was like, what's he going to say?
I know. Oh,
Yes,
my
I
God.
do.
So
I sent 5 blank texts, though, because I needed that suspense.
People know if they follow soccer Twitter, and this is the cool thing is that people are very fans of yours and supportive of you. But you were working for Copa 90 for a long time, and you recently that relationship has ended, and now you're working on moving on to new things. But so people do know that. But now it's like so the next step is get on the Cooligans, come into the studio.
I mean, where else was I going to go?
Okay,
Like, you go straight to the top.
That's what I like.
Once you, I don't have any obligations right now. I'm a free man, so I was like, I got to go straight to the top.
You got to go right to the top. You want everyone to hear that. You got to go to the highest mountain and sound the horn. Welcome
Already
to the
know what it is. I got my mouth all on this mic.
Hell yeah, get up in there.
All on it.
Yeah, get up in
This
there.
is my mic now. I'm taking it home with me.
It's got your essence on it. Your dog is going to recognize the mic.
People are like,
That's my dad's mic.
Yeah, Dad was here.
Are you going to the unemployment office? Nah, I'm going to go to Cooligans and get on the podcast.
Cooligans, man. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, you don't even have to go in no more. You do it on your computer.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Fun employment.
but we are happy to have you here. So, like normally when we start the show, you're going to be just a part of this show. So, how we normally start the show.
And also, if we have people listening that are important in the business, some of them out here stealing ideas from our show. We get it. But hey, if you're influential, listen to my man Aaron. He's got a lot of talents. Maybe that's something you want to hire. Oh. And if not, there's also us. So just keep on that. Just keep on that.
If he does not impress you during this episode, just keep in mind that we're also very talented minorities.
We are available.
Man.
3 very talented and available minorities.
Yeah. What a great podcast that would be, right
Dude,
there.
that's a sitcom. I don't know. That should be.
That no one will buy.
The WB would have that.
100%.
Yeah.
Right after, what was it? Dudes in Outer Space?
That was a Dudes in Outer Space.
Wasn't it? Was it?
Talking about Third Rock from the Sun?
No,
there was
that was
two
on
black
that was on
dudes.
UPN though.
Oh, UPN. Wow.
Did you have
We're
UPN? You had
in
UPN.
outer space.
Okay,
I'm
I
gonna
know
pull
you're
this
talking
up.
about now.
Okay. I mean, obviously, I'm glad we're bringing up the historical black figures for Black History Month. The Dudes in Outer Space. What was the name
There
of the
was
show?
something else.
I know Flex.
Homeboys in outer space.
Space. You're confusing
amazing.
Dudes. Where's my car with Homeboys in Outer Space.
This was the black dudes. Where's my car? But in space.
It was remember Flex. Flex was in on that show. Yeah.
He was in like every show for about a 7.5 month span.
That's
He
right.
did 17 shows.
That's right. So look, I think people don't know that this is a soccer show, and we'll get to that at
well,
some
the thing
point.
is we eventually get to soccer.
But we normally start this show by showing love to the people who show love to us on iTunes. We're so close. We are at 374 reviews on iTunes. We're trying to go for 400.
We're getting there, baby.
And we have a couple. And this was a tough week to pick some reviews because they were really funny. We try to highlight the funniest ones.
So many funny ones.
And this, which one? Do you want to read one first?
No, go ahead. You do Juice. I got one too.
Okay, so this one this is our first review in Spanish, and I know you are a fluent Spanish speaker, Aaron.
Close.
But you know,
I'm trying to get back to it.
You're good because you have that ability of like you've interviewed soccer players and that speak different languages, and apparently nobody knows that you speak the language that player does. Like your producers, nobody knows. And then you get there and you're like, parlez-vous? Like you're like,
My favorite was Buffon. Buffon was like, "Who is this black guy? How did Balotelli's brother get in here?" Like, Buffon was like just smiling through it. He's like, "This is a prank, right?"
My producer was actually pissed off at me for that first interview because he actually didn't know I speak Italian or like speak partial Italian. Yeah. And I was like, I speak a little bit. And then we got into Turin. I didn't want to like oversell it and be like, yeah, I speak it pretty well. We got into Turin. I was like, yeah, we need to go this way. We need to do this. And he was like, how do you know that? I was like, I read it. It's right there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're all just staring at it. Like, these are words.
It says a lot about you because you're clearly like.
That's right. That he can't be trusted. Right? He knows too many languages.
You can't speak in your native tongue in front of him. He might know it.
Son.
Don't try to hide stuff in front of me.
But at least it says a lot about you because you're clearly like a curious person where you're like, I'm not gonna there are some. But we know people that what we were talking to Alex, right, from Flagrant 2,
yes,
who's half Puerto Rican, and he was telling us that his father, who's black, and his mother was Puerto Rican, his father would be like, yo, don't be talking Spanish, because I don't know what you're saying. Because
he thought it was her and the kid talking about him.
Yeah.
So he thought, like, mutiny in the house. He also banned...
easy way to fix it.
Also, he banned rice, beans, and plátanos.
Which is, I mean...
Why do you marry a brown person? I'm upset.
Which is a crime.
It's not even my relationship. I feel like that's a hate crime.
It's like marrying Nicki Minaj, but not allowing yourself to touch her butt.
Man. No twerking in the house.
None.
Nikki.
So it does. I like that about, in general, about anybody that is like curious to be like, I want to learn about the language as opposed to, who cares about or whatever, you know? It's like this slight like not to say as far as xenophobic, but like even just a lack of interest, and you're clearly an interested man. Anyway, so
Tim also wants to say that his daughter, who's half Dominican, is showing her Dominican upbringing. She saw an egg roll yesterday and immediately said, "Can I have a pastelito?"
Oh,
Let's get it, Tim. Tim raising the future.
That's amazing.
That's actually amazing.
So this was our first review in Spanish. So I will read it in Spanish, and then I will. I try to Aaron read it.
He'll translate it for no one in the room because we all understand.
So I'll try. So this is great. So this is from Juice 1771. Great year.
Hugo.
I love his name already.
Yeah.
The Juice.
You know he was trying to go Hugo, right?
So and the subject says se pasan. 5 stars. Este último episodio me mantuve cagando de la risa. La comparación de SKC al grupo Menudo, no mames, jajaja. Muy bien hecho, muchachos. So, to translate, this says the last episode.
Start with se pasan, in case people don't know what that means.
Se pasan is just like
approved.
Like yeah. You got this is I'll allow it.
Yeah, validated. Yeah.
So he goes. The last episode, I was shitting myself laughing. That's what it says.
Hold on, I remained shitting myself the entire time.
Yes,
laughing.
Continuous. It was
diarrhea.
It brings up our last episode.
Yes, it was.
I shit my pants in Dallas, and I talked about it on the last episode.
Like that.
I know.
Don't give him.
My man was sleeping in the other bed.
Do not give him a pound for that.
It'd be like that.
It's embarrassing.
Sometimes you got to let it out. Your boy got one ab out of it, though.
Then he says, the comparison.
Now you got one ab?
It's in my pocket, though.
The comparison to Sporting Kansas City to the group Menudo made me laugh. And he says, well done, sirs. So, Thank you, Juice 1771. We appreciate it, and we just to let you know, we appreciate any review in any language.
Hell yeah, we got Google Translate, baby. So hit us with some of them Asian characters.
We copy and paste it in there, and we're all good. So feel free to leave a review in your own language, and we're trying to get to. We're almost at 400.
I got one to read, and it's from it's somebody who just mashed buttons. It's like UGDFDGISEWSGW. I'm done reading it.
Yeah.
But the title, this is great. First of all, it's 5 stars, obviously, right? But the title is If a Latino Conan O'Brien and a fluffy Bill Burr had a soccer podcast on World Star.
Can you make that your bio?
Done.
Fluffy Bill Burr.
Son, done. Actually, no, I almost fist fought Bill Burr. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
So done.
I need to hear that story at some point. Oh my God.
Yo, that is perfect. Great show that will have you laughing, intrigued, and scrambling to keep your family members from listening. Quality interviews and discussion for the American soccer fan. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wow. Okay. So I think that the username is in a different language.
You know what I love? One of the reasons why I want to read it, besides the title being perfect, is the username is what Aaron will send back if you roast him well enough. He will just mash buttons. That's how you know you got a good roast. Yeah, he's just like, damn, that was too
Damn,
good.
you got me, boy.
All right, so let's get to soccer finally, because I know everybody's been waiting for it. So a couple things. Obviously, we should start the show with the U.S. men's national team. They just played their second friendly of this January camp,
Costa Rica,
against Costa Rica, and bodied Costa Rica.
Son. Wow. With what, the D team?
Well, who's the
Bradley
D?
wasn't in it.
I don't know.
So that makes you drop a notch. Yo, 90% of the players that are on that field aren't going to be starting for Gold Cup.
Okay. Sure. All right. Should we start by immediately shitting on the team that was there and did well? Or
No,
should
we're shitting on Costa Rica because look at how non-impressed I was with the team that bodied them. What was it, 2-0, 3-0? What was the final score? 3-0.
2-0. That in the second against Costa Rica was 2-0.
Yo, Greg Berhalter has only given up one goal, right?
No, he hasn't given up any goals.
Damn, son.
Where'd you find this one?
Body bags.
I'm sorry.
I know you have followed the men's national team closely, and I know you also interviewed, I believe, Tim Weah, right? How did you feel about the ordeal with the coach issue and it taking so long to announce an official head coach, and then to get to the point where now they actually look pretty good against Berhalter? What's your...
Yeah, I got so I never had an issue with Berhalter as a coach. I liked him at Columbus. I liked the things that he seems to stand for as a coach. My issue was how cloudy and weird the whole process seemed to be. Jay Berhalter is his brother.
That's right.
Brings up some flags. Like, Ernie Stewart is his friend, brings up some flags. Like, why did it take so long? Why didn't certain people get interviewed? But the end product is that we got the coach that I think is good for the nation. I really like the way he's trying, the things he said, the philosophies he's taken from Holland, from his playing career, trying to build from the back, trying to play possession-based, and then the things is he said to players, like, when releasing them from camp, like, this is giving them a blueprint to get back
here's
into
why.
camp. Oh my God, you should explain something to me.
Hold on. Transparency?
Your Klinsman would just be like, you know what you did.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Like, you know what you did. Yeah. When you didn't tie your sneakers that one day, I saw that.
Yeah, we all saw it.
We all saw it.
You're done.
I have no issue with him. I don't have an issue with him as the final hire. My only issue was that 14 months of what the hell's going on back there.
Yeah. Well, as someone,
what are you doing? As
someone who is clearly you're covering it closely, does it seem absolutely like at least for us who are fairly new to the workings of U.S. soccer, where we're just like, we clearly don't understand it, and day after day, and then I look to the people who are the Paul Tenorios, the Charles Boehms, or whatever, and I look to them, and I'm like, okay, so you guys have been around it a lot longer, so. Is there sort of a better explanation? And there doesn't really seem to be. It seems
what? You know why I think it took so long? I think Columbus Crew got screwed over so hard and we're getting screwed over so hard, I think U.S. wanted Berhalter, and we're just like, we can't keep screwing Columbus like this.
Yeah.
Like, they're already going to lose their team probably. All this stuff swirling around. Like, we're going to take your coach now, too.
Okay.
I think it was one of those things where they probably made the decision, and we're just like, we're going to sit on it a little while, let them finish the season out, let all this stuff that's swirling around Columbus settle down, and then like, all right, now we're going to take your coach.
Here's where I think would have helped a little bit is if they would have said, if they would have just said, hey, there's some MLS coaches that are on our radar for this, so we're going to wait to make a final decision until the end of the regular season.
Yeah.
Wow. People wouldn't be mad at you, Ernest.
Feels like that would have been kind of easy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, what a simple memo you could have put out. And by the way, the reason we're asking Aaron this is because for those who don't know, previous to Copa 90, you were a writer, but you did primarily focus on Serie A, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
No, I was all soccer.
You were all soccer.
I covered Serie A because that was like my team. So like anything Serie A was pretty much me, but like it was all soccer at Fox Soccer.
Okay. All right. So there you go. So like he has a history of actually doing the work that Christian and I have refused to do.
Also, just for people listening, because Aaron's seat is squeaking like crazy.
Yeah. And I'm like,
he's not just farting the entire show.
Yeah. That's a mouse he keeps in his pocket.
But also, I can let him go now.
You good now.
You never know.
This is the show to do it.
Yeah. Would you watch the game? And both of you, I know you watched a part of it. What did anyone impress enough to say like, yo, if this person or these group of people make it into the first 11 for a Gold Cup or for in the next few years when we start doing World Cup qualifying, that you're happy with it? Obviously, Zach Steffen, right? That's the number one. So let's just get
Lima.
that off of it. Nick Lima.
Big fan of Nick Lima.
He did work.
Yeah, he did a lot of work. Georgi Mihailovic was really good.
Although I think he looked a little like I think it showed that like he doesn't understand how to handle being tossed around a little bit. He got beat up a little bit. Yeah.
He's still slight and like he's 20, so he's like he needs to get kicked a year. Put on probably like 5-10 more pounds. But I saw a lot of promise. I saw a kid that doesn't really seem afraid of anything.
That's
true.
Which is
a lot of the kids that are coming into camp. It's like these kids don't care. They just want to play, and I love that.
That's
it's also
so different.
I feel like it seems like we are now seeing the product of kids that have played every day since they're like in academies and in high level environments for a long time.
Yeah.
And before when you see people coming into a camp, a lot of times it's like, ooh, this dude looks nervous. Like he probably maybe needs a couple more touches. Maybe he needs a little time. But a lot of these dudes are just coming in and just balling. And Aaron Long looked amazing.
Everyone, what I did like about these two friendlies was that I saw a team that was comfortable enough to get to a point where I'm like, I don't know, especially that question about the starters. I don't know who is going to be I don't know who should start, and I like the fact that I don't know, because the last year, the last almost like 15 months has been filled with what are we watching? How come the U.S. can't hold on to the ball? This is getting embarrassing. They were the friendly. Honestly, I think the best.
So, are you saying that this looks bad on Saracen? Because I agree.
It does look bad on Saracen. I would say the best friendly that they had under Saracen was the game against France, the 1-1 draw. As far as like showing some heart but when Pulisic was mentioning in that interview where he was just like, look, we need a plan. Well, he just threw Saracen under the bus. He was like, we need a plan. I don't know what's going on. I get to America, nobody knows what they're doing. So he was like, I ain't saying names, but I'm saying all the names.
He's
right?
like, it rhymes with hurricane.
I don't know who's to blame. There's only one person.
He's got all red string moving the Saracen behind him. I mean, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm pointing.
So when that was the case, and we just the fact that in these two games, the U.S. seemed like just comfortable and confident on the ball,
and they knew where the other players were.
But the weird part, the weird thing is that you would think, like, I actually, maybe this is just me being naive, but sometimes I think like, how much influence does a coach really have?
So much
on the game. And I'm like, look, if you're just good, you know how to play soccer.
It's crazy.
It's crazy though.
It is wild.
It's like the players do everything, but if they're not put in the proper positions to succeed, they can't really do a lot.
Yeah,
their hands are tied often.
You know what? Sometimes like you'll see like Eden Hazard is like really good at this. Like he'll do like a no look, like switch the side of the field pass, and they're like, how did he even know that guy was going to be there? When I was a kid, I'd be like, this dude's got eyes on the back of his head. Now I'm like, because they've trained and they know if this is happening, someone is going to be over there.
I give you a really good example of like it. Obviously, very different levels. When Antonio Conte took over Juve in 2011, they came to Raleigh, North Carolina, and trained. And I saw them training. And they were training like they were started out in basically a 4-2-4. Like when he first got there, he tried that, and they were running some passing patterns, and I saw him do it over and over and over again, and it failed a bunch, and he was getting so pissed off. And then like I saw them try it in the next game, it would fail and fail. But then like Juve, it was 2/3 of the way through the season, were just banging goals.
Yeah,
and it was that same movement, that same rehearsed. It's not running a play, but like
it's
basketball,
like
but it's like understanding of space and movement that has come with training and repetition and understanding that there's a system in place. And I saw the beginnings of that with the national team, and I was like, what? Like sometimes you would see it break down, but you saw the intent behind it and what they were trying to do.
It's a 90-minute
and I was
game.
like, it's going to break down in the beginning because no one's used to it. But if you're trying it over and over again and you're committing to a system that you think is going to work and then everyone buys into it, it's like, oh, we're not just going to throw out a different 11 every single game and be like, you're fighting for your place.
And also, it's not just Michael Bradley having to do everything or figure
Trying
it out.
hero balls from in front of the back.
Yeah, which is like then, look, he's the type of dude. I'm not sitting here defending him for everything, but he is the type of dude that's going to be like, I'll try to find a way to make it work. I'm not going to throw people under the bus. And then we all sit here and go, man, he sucks because he couldn't make that. He couldn't get that on a dime every time to Altidore his forehead. It's like, what are we doing? Berhalter has the system. Here's my problem. Countries like Italy that have like, traditionally like a catenaccio, right? Which is like a system that kind of a lot of everyone understands that Italy's going to play this certain way. Everyone understands Netherlands are going to play total football, right? America doesn't really have a system. Our teams, our clubs don't really play in that system. Our academies aren't developing just in the system. Is it possible that Berhalter is going to be able to have a system for a national team where a lot of those players aren't always playing in that system?
I think what we are now, at least what I've seen with a lot of the new crop of young players, is they're intelligent enough to be able to fit into a bunch of different systems. Like we're now starting to grow smart soccer players. Like they watch the game. They played every single day. They've seen it at a high level. They're playing with high level players day in and day out. And so some of these guys are playing in different systems for club, but are smart enough to be able to know, hey, when I go with the national team, and plus they know what to expect with the national team now.
Yeah.
So they know when I come into camp, this is what Berhalter expects. And if you are a good enough footballer, you can do that.
That's a good point.
Especially when you know what's coming. Like you don't just go into camp and like, does he want me to play 1-2 touch? Does he want me to hold the ball? Does he want me to hit long balls? Does he want me to press? Does he want me to sit in? No, they know how when they get to camp, this is what is expected of me. And it seems like he's communicating with them, like watching them play and say, hey, I want you to work on a little thing like this.
Yeah.
So I think for a player at this point, you feel good. I think you feel confident and you can focus on yourself because there's nothing out there changing.
Right.
I think that was a real struggle for a lot of players.
It's like an open book test. You have the book in front of you. It's up to you to pass or fail.
Like you see what's there.
I'm just like, what page is that again?
Like a lot of players don't really know. Like you go into your club season, I don't know if my coach if he's looking for me to like move the ball around, if he wants me to get into tackles, I don't know what my coach is looking for from me, but now they can just play and be themselves.
Thank you for quoting Jonathan Lewis, because that's exactly right.
Is that what he said?
No, I'm kidding. But it sounds very much like something he would say, right? Because Jonathan Lewis gets his first call up and playing for this senior team and is outstanding. He comes off as a sub, and this is a kid.
Every time he comes in.
So here's a quick update that I was not aware of. And I saw this in the NYCFC Facebook group. So we know Jonathan Lewis of NYCFC. We talk about him very highly. He's a very talented baller.
American Raheem Sterling.
American. Are you okay? You've said that. This is the first time I've heard that. Okay.
I just gave him that. Although he puts his hands down when he runs. You know what I mean?
But
he's not holding a purse.
So we were always baffled why is it that Jonathan Lewis doesn't get much playing time for NYCFC when every time he does play he always gets like a key pass, something incredible happens. It's like how does he not play much, how does he not start or whatever, right? So this was what I heard. So he's under a Generation Adidas contract,
yes,
which is so the rules in MLS is that if you are a Generation Adidas player and you get a certain number of minutes, you lose that Generation Adidas a designation.
Yeah, but what's the number? 70 minutes? The guy barely plays.
So apparently I think that was the concern. They didn't want him to go over his number of minutes to lose the Generation Adidas, because the Generation Adidas players don't hit your cap. So they would be able to keep him longer. And add another player or pay more money to another player.
This is so wild.
You're incentivizing teams to play a great player less during the youth, during the beginning of his career.
Amazing.
How is less minutes helping?
No, it's
Guerrero at number 3.
Look, you make a good point, because you have to weigh those two options. Like, do you want, because also the player, what if the player doesn't turn out to be very good or something like that? So that it at least allows you to not have to take the worst risk in general. So that is at least some sort of answer to that question of like, why hasn't Jonathan Lewis been playing?
The problem is, look at Alexis's face. He's like, this is not the answer I wanted. This answer is worse.
Because it doesn't
makes it all worse.
Because
this is systematic failures.
I sort of agree with you.
Sort of.
I agree in that he should
That's like
play.
saying, don't put the boat in the water. We don't want it to get wet. It might sink if it goes in the water. If the boat never touches the water, it never sinks. Genius. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Titanic can't sink if it goes in the water.
That's a good point.
Write that down.
Yo.
So
what are we doing?
At least that's some idea as to why he's
What is the purpose of Generation Adidas? These are the best players in college. Wouldn't you want them to show how great they are playing minutes in your league? This is why they're avoiding this league to go to Europe.
If he comes out of Generation Adidas, does it like bump up significantly?
No, it hits the cap.
It just hits the cap. Okay. So that the teams themselves are like, oh, well, if we keep them 2 minutes under, then we can save that money for like another player.
Oh, we should have Generation Adidas allocation. If a Generation Adidas player plays well enough to warrant minutes, then
we're calling it GAM.
Can we call it GAM, son? This is ridiculous.
GAM.
Okay, so at least look, we're trying to figure it out. So at least that's at least some sort of clue as to what's going on.
We need someone from the league on this podcast.
So look,
they know they're going to get fired. But when they get fired, they could come on the podcast.
So basically, you got to scheme on someone in MLS who you think has the knowledge and get them fired.
You get fired because of Cooligans, but then you get to come on Cooligans.
So full circle, baby.
Pretty great. So Jonathan Lewis did come on to the game. We talked about him.
He came in the 70th
against Panama, but he played against Costa Rica and got the assist for the first goal.
He didn't just do that. He, first of all, great pass. I believe it was Baird who passed him the ball.
I forgot who got him the ball originally.
A beautiful pass, did it so that he wouldn't have to trap and run. He did it so he can continue running. Great, basically like through pass all the way across. But here's what the genius of Jonathan Lewis is he doesn't run to a space and try to figure out what to do. He seems as though he's building that plan as the ball's coming to him. Yeah. When he gets there, he does something you very rarely see American players do, especially on the wing. He turns to the player and starts to take him on. And he has the pace to get past them, but he uses that as a second, like a plan B, which is, we don't see this enough. We don't see players that are
non-pace dependent players.
Yes. It's not like, like the old Kobe Jones who's just like, well, give him space and let's see what he can do. This is a player who can not only get into space when he wants to, but goes at the defender and puts them on their back heels, and then is able to build a little bit of that space, get some of that separation, and looks up. He looks up. He sees where the other player is, and he says, hey.
He's like a proud parent on the sidelines.
With the ball at his feet, he looks up. And he says, hey, I think I've got the skill to use this foot to hit this ball, to put it right on my dude's noggin. And that's exactly what he does to Leggett.
Yes, and just that when you see Sebastian Leggett and you see such a gorgeous man running down the field,
First
you're
of
like,
all, flawless. I was upset about the ball. Don't hit him in the face. This dude is flawless. Okay.
Look,
I don't rules against that.
we have
again, by the way, far post, which I yell about all the time.
Yes,
at NYCFC games.
Well, look, Aaron, I don't know if you know this, but we have a rule on this show where we make it a point. We do not objectify female footballers.
Is that rule still applied to the men?
No, not to Sebastian Leggett. Sebastian Leggett is the only person we objectify.
He is the only person allowed to be objectified on this podcast
because he is gorgeous.
Also, it's mandatory that he be objectified.
Okay, we met him. We met him once, and he was I wanted to touch his body. I'll be honest.
How long ago was this?
This was not last MLS Cup, 2 MLS Cups ago.
Damn, it's been 2 years, and y'all are still smitten.
Yo, we saw him at the last MLS Cup, and we're like, hi.
Good to see you again, Sebastian.
Beautiful.
The workouts still going well?
Just a beautiful man.
Just chiseled. God took his time with that.
So good.
It's 10 o'clock. Yeah. I didn't ask the time.
Got 100% hit the snooze button before he made me, but took his time with that, man.
But again, Jonathan Lewis did look incredible, and the hope is that hopefully this season coming up in MLS, that Dome Torrent will give him the
light of
the minutes that he deserves. I think this is his last year as Generation Adidas, so I don't think there's any more concern with that.
Well, finally,
it should
free range Jonathan Lewis will be a great Jonathan Lewis.
It should be the case that if a player is good enough, that they should earn the opportunity to the cap hit is worth Jonathan Lewis. Do you know what I'm saying?
Free range, locally sourced.
Yes.
Jonathan Lewis.
Non-GMO.
No parabens.
No preservatives. My dude is free range.
But he's that good, and I'm glad that fans of the U.S. men's national team got to see him, because how many people tweeted at us were like, "Yo, look at this, your boy Jonathan Lewis.
Where's your boy been?" And we're like, "We don't know.
We've been saying this since day one."
And it's not. It's like one of those coming of age movies where the girl takes the glasses off, and all of a sudden she's the hottest girl in school.
Takes the glasses off.
But imagine the camera swung to her friends, and they're like, "We've been telling you."
All she was doing is wearing glasses, and overall she's been painting a lot.
Were you a bunch of Lois Lanes? Just a pair of glasses?
And the bullies were just Dome Torrent and Claudio Reyna. We didn't know what we had. So
look, these are the sounds of people having a positive conversation about the men's national team, which just does not happen. It has not happened.
And then the goal, the incredible pass from Sebastian Leggett for the goal to Paul Arriola.
Yeah, that was great.
Who's just another guy that is always.
Which, by the way, when he scored, I yelled, "Arriola, baby!" I said the name wrong, and my wife was like, "What the fuck did you just say?" I was like, "No. It's Arriola.
That's my man."
I'm just like, finally got to see some Arriola. That's what it looked like.
Okay. Okay, what is this, the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
No.
Come on now.
So, but that was impressive. Overall, my take on it, we were talking about after the game against Panama, where I was just like, I'm surprised that I'm not disappointed watching the men's national team after the game. Like, usually it's not even about winning games, it's genuinely about, like, was there a plan in place?
Right.
Did they play with some real heart?
He's a friendly.
Yeah, I would talk to people like I didn't hate watching that.
You're afraid to be
confused. I'm I wanted to play FIFA, but I couldn't turn it off.
Yeah, even I was watching the reading the quotes from the Costa Rican manager. I forgot his name, but he was saying all the stuff that we're supposed to be saying. Yeah. We just looked. We didn't really have it in the second half, and I'm like, yeah, they didn't have it in the second half.
It wasn't us this time.
How great is that?
Imagine someone else not having it in the second half.
I'm like, just the cliche stuff that you have to say to keep your job for another day. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool to hear from somebody else.
You mentioned FIFA. I got an idea for the men's national team. What if they were handed a version of FIFA that was locked into only playing. They can only play as themselves, and they can only play in the Berhalter system. And they were forced to play. Maybe forced is a bad word. Maybe they were asked to play it throughout their general career when they're not in camp. And the data of how well they played and the positions they were in and some of the choices they made went back to the men's national team.
What the hell did you just say?
This is like a flight simulator. Like what pilots need. Yeah.
Yo. So, all right, let's pick Will Trapp as an example. Will Trapp gets a version of FIFA, right, that he can play. That only allows him to play as himself on only games with the men's national team and
That
only in
sounds
Berhalter's
awful.
system. Check this out. So you were talking about like awareness, right? The Conte system you were talking about. My dude gets to do it. They all get to do it on their FIFA game.
Oh, so they're like practicing tactics, but on FIFA and stuff?
Yes, and that data of how they played goes back to Berhalter's men.
See, but this is also the alternative because as opposed to playing FIFA, there's another way to play as yourself, and that is to actually play as yourself in real life and actually go into camp and you have that data.
But imagine Will Trapp goes back to his club, right? He's still with Columbus.
You're talking crazy, Christian.
Damn, Christian.
What is this craziness?
Boy, you wild.
What about for the off times, right? They just got out of training with their club and they can continue to learn and develop in Berhalter's system. I think what I just said is genius. And if there's somebody with money listening, talk to me.
Okay. I mean, I don't know exactly how you implement Berhalter's system in a video game. Like, what does that mean to you?
You forgot everything.
You can say that. You can say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't hate the idea. Now that I understand what you're talking about, I don't hate it.
But what data are we capturing? Who the
Like
player
their
passes
heat maps and all that. The same shit you would get in a regular game.
But there's too much AI that is controlling. Like, how would you know that the player themselves is like? What data are you collecting from the data from the player themselves? Like, what decisions
you
they
pissed,
make?
Christian.
This is what
Clean off.
they're playing the game.
But what specific data? Who they pass to, where they pass,
Yes.
where they stand.
Bruh, all of it. What data? Every sheet
You're gonna
on
read.
that spreadsheet.
Who's gonna
my
read
guy.
this? Read through this. You?
They got data, people. You tell me the men's national team got $100 million? They ain't got enough for two nerds that know how to read data?
Bro, you made me hit my face on the microphone.
We ain't got nerds?
Oh my goodness!
We ain't got data, people? You know, there's somebody listening right now who pulled their car over saying, this is on some next level. Sure, it's a little Big Brother-ish, but
Okay.
it's genius.
It's really easy to call it genius, right?
I know, because it's such a good idea.
He's just like, they're computers. Just do the computers.
Get me my nephew.
Just like freaking the computer's Putin. That's Alexis over here. Anyway,
That's amazing.
Okay. So let's move away from the men's national
I'm
team.
telling you, 20% of the listeners just know I invented something amazing.
Yo, the 20%, you need to stop listening to this show.
No, you need to tell your friends.
But not till you leave a review.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's talk about what happened last week. The MLS transfer window ended and closed, and there were a couple particular stories with players that
MLS transfer window still open.
MLS transfer window is not open.
Yes, it is.
When does it close? When does it close?
It's still open for another couple months. You can still bring players in. You can't send players to Europe or South America because the general transfer window is closed.
Okay. Is that even
I know
close
the
to
general
accurate?
transfer. I don't actually know the MLS transfer window, but
Okay.
the European and
After the
transfer window is closed.
the computers,
Tim, I need you.
the computer's Putin thing. I don't know if I can rely on that. But yes, but January 31st. That's for like that's pretty much everywhere, right? Whether that you can't transfer. Is that what it is? You can't transfer
All of
out
Europe,
players.
yeah.
All of Europe, right?
You can't sell players to Europe.
Okay, so regardless,
But MLS teams can still buy players.
okay, because I know the La Liga transfer window is still open. That I know for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so
What month is it?
we're in February.
Sure.
Damn, son, you've been unemployed
'cause
for like 3 days.
I think it's like 2 weeks later. It's like 2 weeks later, the La Liga transfer window, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, but Lucho Acosta, that's so of DC United, Luciano Acosta, he
He
went
was
through
in
an
Paris.
ordeal.
He went through a transfer.
He went through China. He was great.
He went through a transfer.
Literally just had to sign a piece of paper, and he was going to be a
He
part.
did physical in Paris.
That's right, which is the fanciest place to get a physical, to be honest.
After that, he was like, fuck it, I'm getting a croissant.
But no, this is crazy because this happened very, very fast. This was like on Wednesday. We hear, a possible $9 or $10 million transfer for DC United to PSG, and we're just like, excuse me, who's going from MLS to PSG? And Lucho Acosta had an incredible season. He went this year with Wayne Rooney was surreal, right?
Yeah,
he played incredibly well, and he was always having like he had to do a lot of the heavy lifting in DC. But when Rooney got there, it became like he could finally go off, right? And he went nuts. So,
well, I think it's the first time we saw his actual ability.
Okay.
Because he wasn't forced to do a bunch of other things on that team. He was able to do what he does best. And Wayne Rooney also pulls a lot of defenders to him. So it freed him up. Obviously not in that big famous play where Rooney sends it to the forehead of the tiniest guy on the field, and he scores a game-winning goal. But, which I think they just call like the Rooney play at this point, but or the Rooney. But it's a moment where you get to see what he's actually good at. You actually get to see him play his position. I think it warrants a sale. I think he's good enough. Once after showing that to play with better players in Europe than he had at DC. $10 million though?
The number seemed high when I saw that.
Javinko went for 3.
Yeah, but that was
I don't hate that number for a 24-year-old promising player on the world market. That's not.
You believe there's a higher ceiling than what he's shown?
I think he could be a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially with better players around him, I would love to see. Like I think players that are able to show that level, there's one or two ways. Like either you're a big fish in a small pond, or you have the ability to step up and play at the level of players around you. And I think I've seen a little bit from Acosta that maybe not PSG like Champions League level, but like good European team level.
Okay.
But Champions League is definitely a different bar, right?
But he thought he was playing against United. He was like, this is happening.
Neymar's hurt.
Yeah,
I'm right there.
I'm as good as Neymar minus a metatarsal.
So
it's true.
But the standard is definitely high. But in France itself, Lucho Acosta would be fine, right? Like,
I think so.
League,
he is absolutely a league on player.
Yeah, and with the farmers, right, that they have, out, which I love.
Bruh.
Anytime PSG wins a game, it's just like the
Farmers League. Them boys trash.
One of them teams is named after mustard.
Right? There's a blind team in the league.
Yeah.
Just
one of them is made out of puppies. They got just puppies on the field.
Cutest team in the league, but they trash.
So it's great to see, and I was genuinely disappointed for him. You have to feel bad.
He said bye to his players.
Yeah,
his teammates.
It's an awkward return.
He talked shit to one person. He was like, I didn't like you from the beginning.
Get me in training. I megs you every day, you week. You ain't never going to Europe. I never see you get. Oh, damn.
I ain't gonna remember your name. As soon as I get on the plane, you're gonna come back like,
stop talking to me in Spanish. It's French now. I don't even know what you're saying.
He came back like,
I'm not that same Lucho from a week ago.
He came back on some like, I think I was just having a rough day that day. You know what I mean? It wasn't even you, it was me.
I was gassed up that day. I had a lot of brew, like a lot of champagne. I was really feeling myself. I'm sorry.
So it's that private plane me. I'm back to coach, baby. I'm back to coach class.
So all this happens so fast. He gets to takes a flight to Paris. He's ready to get everything going.
He's there. It's all done.
And now
Tuchel.
So the rumors were that there was issue with the fee, right? That DC United wanted like 12 or 13 million, and PSG was offering 9. They wanted to meet somewhere in the middle, but they couldn't really find that number. And then after that, and this is what I love about transfer windows in general, because the last couple days are just gossip, just nightmares for people's families. It's just like
no one knows where
anyone's going. And then the rumors were that it was either they couldn't negotiate on a fee, and then that apparently the manager for PSG, Tuchel, had some drama with like the sporting director and was like,
stop signing players I don't know about.
That's it. Like, yo, I don't know this dude. Who are you bringing to my house?
Tuchel was like, I don't even see him. Oh, there he is. My bad. All right.
He's just very much you can't even. It's difficult to picture such a big club.
But there was also that rumor that the Qataris are trying to get the sponsorship for DC's shirt.
Yeah.
So they were like, all right, how about we buy your player for $10 million?
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. So that's all
like quid pro quo. Like, we'll buy your player. We slap that sponsor on the shirt.
It's all good. All right.
We fly Emirates or Etihad every once in a while.
All right. We put a terminal right at Dulles. We're all good.
I really could see Tuchel being like, bro, like, no disrespect to this dude. I don't know who he is. You already brought in Choupo-Moting. Stop signing players.
I really did you a favor.
Their transfer policy is so scattershot and just doesn't make sense.
Scattershot, it's sketchy as shit.
It's wildly sketchy, and they clearly are not football people. They're not soccer people. They're they have a lot of money and they know how to do business and marketing, but they have no idea what they're doing when it comes to building a team.
Yeah.
None.
And they the prize always for PSG is always to try to win the Champions League. That is the thing that they are there for, but they can't.
Too bad right around this time every year, it's Neymar's sister's birthday. Conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
We know the truth.
Winter is coming.
So, but yeah, that's right. And I don't look. I don't watch many PSG games because what's really the point, right? Like, we know outside of a Champions League game, there's not much. It's not particularly entertaining.
It's like watching the Harlem Globetrotters without the gags.
Okay. I mean, no, well, Neymar does do the gags.
No, but I'm saying, the fun part of the game is gone.
Yeah.
It's just watching a team win every time.
But when you watch PSG in the Champions League, it's very much like the way we complain about the men's national team playing against European opponents. And we're like, yo, how come they're so outmatched, right?
Yeah.
And PSG is exactly that. And even with Neymar, with Mbappe, they'll have flashes of brilliance, but it's still even Manchester United is about to play PSG, but I have to favor, even with Neymar, I would still favor Manchester United because just the pedigree, the week after week, even Manchester United, who are in sixth place or whatever, they still struggle, but compared to PSG, it's like
PSG don't have to try that hard.
They don't have to try that. And then when they get to Champions, they're like, oh man,
this is another gear.
Everybody keeps running.
I know. Yeah.
This is a little
What
too
are
much.
they doing?
Yeah. What do you mean none of these guys have part-time jobs?
It would have been fascinating to see Lucho Costa in PSG. Even playing in France, it would have meant a lot for Major League Soccer. Obviously, to have such a big transfer to such a big club.
Tuchel saved this kid.
Really?
Yeah, because he wasn't going to play.
He was going to be lost in that system, and in about a year and a half, he would have ended up going out into probably a lower division French team or somewhere else.
Or Evian or some shit. Yeah.
I mean, he would have got
not lower division, sorry, like a lower team in Liga.
The other side of the table.
Like a naught or something like that.
Well, he would have, at least played maybe a game or two, gotten a couple photos in the PSG shirt.
Listen, he would have gotten all that PSG Jordan gear, which is big drip.
Exactly.
Might have been worth it.
You pay me $10 million.
Might have been worth it.
All the dopest fits.
$2 million in gear.
Consider it done.
Straight on eBay for years.
Hell yeah.
So the other move you mentioned earlier, Sebastian Giovinco leaves Toronto FC and goes to. We talked about it. We talked about it briefly because it was rumored last week, but it did happen. And the reason we should bring this up is because Giovinco went off on his Instagram.
He talked that talk.
He did.
Oh boy.
And I'm gonna pull it up, but it is like the main concern. A lot of people were debating this was should Toronto have let Giovinco go and not pay him. He was making almost, I think, about $7.1 million per season, which is a lot, right? And I mentioned it last week that he's an often injured player. And
recently,
the last 2 years,
he's like 32 now.
Yeah, and he was missing games, so it's like
he's 32 now.
32.
Paying $7 million for Giovinco for a player that's probably going to miss 10 to 15 games is a lot, right? So he said that he was willing to take less money, and people
supposedly it is. That's bullshit.
Who knows? So I'm gonna
You got offered less money.
I'm gonna read.
I'll take 6.8 million, not 7.1.
So I'm gonna
do with that information what you will, sir.
So I'm gonna read. It's too much, but so basically I'll pull just a couple things. So he talks about positively his experience in Toronto. And he wanted to stay there. He wanted to retire there. But he mentioned, he goes, for the 2 years I've been seeking to extend my contract. However, management was reluctant. Recently, after refusing to exercise the club option for 2020, I was offered terms that I deemed unacceptable. So obviously he got short. He was like, yeah, I'm not going to take this little money. But he did say, quote, they may say I left for a more lucrative deal, but this is not the case. Their offer and lack of transparency is a clear message. It seems management prefers to focus on things other than the pure desire to win. And so, yeah. So, and he really went out.
Shots.
And this was, I mean,
he reloaded.
He took it quite personal. He goes, quote, after having grown.
Clip.
And this is how you know he's mad. And clearly he did not write this, but he had someone write this for
He
him.
had a whole page. You know he's mad.
He goes,
You have to scroll down.
Javinko says, after having grown the brand and elevating the overall reputation of TFC both at home and abroad, it seems I no longer serve a purpose. Ouch. And he goes on to, that he's leaving and all stuff, and he loves Toronto and the Six and Drake. Anyway, so, but this, I mean, we don't really see this from almost any professional athlete to go kind of this far, but this, because it's not like I hate Toronto.
It's like only Jermaine Jones.
I know, right? Yeah.
Yes. Jermaine Jones level.
Jermaine Jones level of honesty.
I think Jermaine Jones drafted this for him.
Yeah. It's like, here's what you got to say. Yeah.
You ain't
Blame
going,
them niggas up.
You ain't going to Saudi Arabia because of a dog, right? No. All right, I'll help you out.
So, but a player kind of going off like this, and I'm putting his side of the story, and it's like, TFC's not going to say anything because it's just going to make it worse by responding to this. But did Toronto, like, what is Javinko worth even now? It's like, I don't know what they offered him, but if they offered him what, like $4 million?
No,
not worth it.
No.
Okay.
He's a TAM player now.
Well, he went from $7 million per season,
which is the contract you paid him when the dude was 28 years old or 29. Yeah.
Yes.
He's 32, oft injured. You love this team. You need to help the team. Dog, you a TAM player now. You're getting $1 million. You're getting $1 million.
Okay. Well, I think that's a steep drop off, but okay.
That's it.
I mean, it's not.
But you don't pay someone for what they did. You pay someone for what they're gonna do. He did. He got paid for what he did. He deserved those millions back in the day. Now, no. Also, if he was in the team, you think they avoid a 5-1 loss to Las Vegas Lights that they just suffered a few days ago? They got bodied by Las Vegas Lights. Yo, what league is Las Vegas Lights in? Their shirt sponsor is a dispensary. Okay,
is it, or it's not Zappos?
That's a training.
Oh, the owners it's owned by Zappos. Anyway, okay.
Dog, they got bodied by Eric Winalda's Las Vegas Lights, a team that has 2 llamas on the sidelines.
Hey.
Bruh, and Freddie Adu.
I mean, those llamas can be distracting.
Yeah. All I'm saying is he doesn't make that team better. Paying him those millions assures you're not going anywhere because you have too many things that you have to put together to keep him. Victor Vasquez is gone. Simon doesn't look like he's up for it if you're letting 5 goals go by. So you can't give him that money. And if you love Toronto and, you built the brand, you know what you do? Give that man a share of the business. He deserves a cut of that business moving forward. He deserves that, Derek Jeter deal. Like, if you want buy-in, you got it afterwards. But we got to give you a little bit here. We can't give you a lot.
Okay.
That's a TAM player. Sorry, Javinko. I'm proud of him. Go make your money in Saudi Arabia. This is the last time he's going to get a contract like that.
He's going to get crazy paid.
Hazard pay.
Okay.
Because now you got to move your family all the way across the world to a different, culture that he's used to. Son, if you're, or maybe they stay in Toronto and he goes out there, plays out his contract, comes back. Maybe that's the case. Or maybe he moves the family to Italy to be closer. All I'm saying is that's not the guy that makes $7 million anymore. That should not be the highest paid player in the league.
I get that.
How many goals did he score last season?
I mean, you're gonna make me look this up now.
He scored,
should be in there.
He didn't score that many because he was hurt. hurt a little bit, and the team didn't play well. They didn't make the playoffs, but they were like the question was asked by a lot of people: is Sebastian Giovinco the greatest MLS player that we've had? Or at least the greatest DP? And I think it's a fair question, especially with the run that they had in 2017 and the greatest David Villa, as far as I quality player, it's definitely up there.
13 goals, 8 assists. That's pretty good, though.
David Villa, without a doubt, he's in the conversation.
Not 7 million good, though.
No, he's in the conversation. But Giovinco won a lot of trophies for Toronto.
Yeah, and
got them to the final of the Champions League.
And damn near took it. I mean, they took it to Tigres. Damn near took it to the Champions League.
Like I'm drawing blanks on DPs, like famous DPs.
I think Keane.
Robbie Keane.
Yeah, Keno was damn
I think Keane
good.
is still the best DP just because he came in and did work. And David Villa would have if he stayed a little longer. If he was also a little younger when he got here, or was able to withstand the league a little longer. David Villa also shouldn't have gotten the money that he wanted.
Sure.
He's just too old now.
Yeah, that is fair. And also, he missed like 7-8 games last season. So it's like we're seeing a pattern with the players that come in their older years, and and trying to shed that.
Maybe we're seeing a reversal of that pattern now. Like this is the start or part of the start. It's like no,
yeah, we have to.
We're not giving you that money.
Yeah,
no,
it's like no. Like Rooney deserves
who you are.
Rooney deserves it right now because he puts asses in seats that want to see him. But
And
after that allure's gone, and he can still ball in 2 years when that allure's gone, and he's a step slower than he is now, which is wild slow, and he's maybe oft injured. Does he deserve that money? No. So his next contract, if he loves DC United, he needs to be a TAM player.
Okay. So what a weird way to show love,
you don't. This is business. Put his picture on the wall if you love him.
Yeah.
This business.
So a couple other things before we wrap up our segment with Aaron. The Super Bowl was in Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
So boring
this year. Not a fun Super Bowl. But the popular talking point amongst soccer fans was once the attendance was put in the halo out in for the Super Bowl, it was about 70,000, a little over 70,000.
70,060, I think it was like that.
Yes, and
a little over 71.
And then
under 71.
When they had showed the attendance on that same halo during the MLS Cup, and it was 73,000 and change. So everybody was like, "Yo, soccer is here.
We did
NFL is over.
Ding, 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 ding.
Call it off. We don't even need that league anymore."
The only CTE that matters in Atlanta is Yeezy. I mean Jeezy.
So so that was like the big talking about that. So even though some people were like poo-pooing the people that were excited about that there were more people at an MLS Cup than a Super Bowl, even though the tickets are like, I mean, a fifth of the cost.
Not even.
Maybe
way more. I think someone said the average is like $4,000 for a ticket to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Where I think MLS's championship was $217, which is, again, it's the people's sport. Okay.
That whole thing was fun to me. I just didn't say anything. Like, I think it's very dope that MLS Cup sold 73,000 tickets, but also like they both sold out. I'm pretty sure they both sold out, but NFL just gets more allocation for like press and things like that. So, and the configuration of the stadium is changed. So it's like, yes, it's dope that MLS got 73, but it's not like, oh, they bashed NFL over their head. Like, they both sold out. Come on.
But it is a big moment.
It's super. I love that.
To be able to say 73,000.
That's why I don't want to like fight like anyone on either side. Like people who were like super happy about that number. Yes, that's dope. But like, you're not like, it's not like you punched NFL in the face for this one because they both sold out.
Yeah, you don't get NFL's TV contract now. That's not what, it wasn't for Pink Six.
I feel like it was almost. I hate those like please like my sport moments.
Yeah,
where yes, this game is growing and we do have to call out the positives, but don't be like, oh, we got 73, you got 71, you weak.
Yeah,
no, we need to celebrate the positives. Yes, it's amazing that Mercedes-Benz sold 73,000 tickets for soccer in America, but like don't try to use that as a culture to be like, oh, you only got 71, you weak.
Yeah. But this is the first time MLS Cup has had more people at it.
That's fair.
Hey,
that we can celebrate it, but I think
you
we
know
also
what else
need
had more people? The All-Star game.
How many was it? We're at All-Star.
Wasn't All-Star 72?
About the same. So
that's lit.
Right, that was Juventus versus MLS All-Star. These are big deals. I know people are
a big deal.
People are going to take all those little, instances away from soccer and be like, oh, but you don't make enough money, and but this and that, and TV. All that is true. This is a small win. All right.
Yeah. I would say that. Yeah, it's not as far as
it's also I think foreshadowing. It's a sign of what's coming.
A bit of a milestone.
Yes. That is what in itself.
A big milestone. I think. And I wanted to bring this up just to see because it was
72,317 at the All-Star game.
Okay, cool. Wow, you counted each one?
Yeah, I went around. I have one of them little clicker joints.
Please say present if you are here.
Ooh, did I count you already?
I got to start over.
Yes, right back to the
top. But this was pretty fascinating, and I want to pull it up to kind of get the right quote. I forgot where I saw it. Somebody sent it to me. But this was the president of the United States was interviewed. I think maybe me.
Who?
That's
I'm sorry. They interviewed Obama. I didn't see that.
Sorry, I'll say this for Christian. Not my president of the United States was interviewed.
Who?
So. He was interviewed on a Sunday morning news show, and he was asked about his son.
This is before the Super Bowl. This is
before the Super Bowl, and I really want to pull it up so I can get
basically the gist of what he said is that his son prefers soccer over American football, and that he doesn't want his son to play American football. He prefers for him to play soccer.
Well, soccer's doomed now.
Yeah, I know.
He didn't say
Get your hands off.
I'm a basketball fan.
He mentioned.
We could talk about Chris Stapps, the backstab.
But he mentioned the fact that the head injuries, and he's like, well, my son enjoys the sport and he enjoys soccer, and I want to support him in that. And it was like. It was just weird to hear
compassion
out of him. Like I was actually surprised he cares about his son's well-being.
You were waiting for him to be like, build a wall. Right? You're gonna say some wild shit right here.
And so it makes it like it whatever, regardless of where you lean on any politics or whatever, it's just seeing that from the perspective of like as a human being, as a citizen of this country, and then out of seeing this person who most people just despise, right? Even though he says the polling is great,
the majority of the country certainly. And to quote him on CBS Face the Nation, he said the helmets have gotten far better, but it hasn't solved the problem.
Yeah. So this sounds like he's about to kneel with Kaepernick, right? Like it's like, whoa,
let's not go this far.
Like
Aaron wants to stop the podcast.
I'm like, what did I say? I'm about to start yelling.
It's like, whoa, is this dude an ally? What's going on?
He said something that made sense, which is shocking.
Yeah, he like really put down the NFL and spoke up soccer, which is like, I think. Like just people, whatever conservative people or whatever that like just like call soccer gay or whatever. Just like this guy's confused. Like he doesn't have my vote for 2020 because he's not calling soccer gay.
Yeah, it was so shocking to hear that. I'm like, what? Soccer just take a L somehow?
Yeah, very.
Right when someone co-signing is like, oh,
I know, damn.
It's like when you see someone weak like wearing your merch or something. It's like, no, take the gulliest shirt off. Yeah. You're not gully at all.
You ain't gully at all.
You're the least gully person I ever met.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a shock, and I do want to ask you, Aaron, just now that like as far as plans going forward, and then things that you've done in soccer media, right? So what are I know you recently did. I believe it hasn't aired yet, right? You did a panel with MLS about Black History Month. I believe. So
I did that on what's today? Monday, Tuesday.
Okay.
What is
a couple days ago. I saw it.
I did it on Sunday.
Okay.
Yes, yesterday.
So
what is today?
Today's Tuesday.
I don't know what days are when you don't have a job. Yeah, it's Monday.
So what can we expect from that? If you have to give a tease as to what people should look out for.
It was a great discussion between me, Crystal Dunn, Mark McKenzie of Philadelphia Union, Aaron Dolores of Black Arrow, and literally Danielle Slayton, who is an announcer for Fox Sports.
So she's great. We're
just talking about just being black in this sport. It was like a very kind of chill, relaxed conversation, just talking about what it means to be Black in America playing soccer, what it means to have grown up playing soccer, like our experiences growing up, our experiences now, like where we see things going. It was just a really illuminating and enjoyable discussion, and I think y'all will like it.
Well, we spoke to Aaron a little bit about that when he joined us on the show, but for you played in college, and so you are more obviously familiar. Is there anything in particular that maybe a Black soccer player in America kind of experiences that other people don't? Given that the sport is fairly diverse depending on the community that you were kind of brought up in, is there anything that stands out as like, oh, this is different from with the Black soccer player experience?
I think because, I mean, it is a little bit different in communities like New York City and in like, I would say, probably not Chicago, but specifically New York City. I think the soccer communities are a lot more diverse because there are so many immigrants coming in and like colored immigrants. But when I grew up, I was one of like very few Black soccer players. Yeah. So it's cool to me now to see like brown and Black faces, well, especially Black faces, but just dark people sprinkled all over. So that's just enjoyable for me, just to see more and more Black people in the sport, and just a big goal for me is just keep that growing, and not like just middle class Black folks, like everyone.
And I think we talked about this early on in our podcast, because it's like, as Latinos, we get this pass of like, well, of course you love soccer. Well, nah, I'm Cuban, he's Dominican. We ain't
Cubans
supposed
and Dominicans
to.
Y'all are some baseball boys.
We're not supposed to be playing that sport. So like, as fans of that, we had really no one to really like talk to about it. Like, there was no one that we could be like, blah, blah. Like, all my homies that were like, you know, from Grenada, Trinidad, Jamaica, they were like, yeah, soccer, we love it. Oh my God, come over, watch. All my homies that were like African American or Puerto Rican or Cuban or Dominican, they're like, what are you doing?
Right, yeah.
And I think that was the toughest part as a fan, was there was like almost, you didn't really have a home as a minority who liked the sport. I played it for a while, certainly not at a very high level. I stopped at high school, but when I would go play the sport, I'm like, damn, these are all like rich kids I have nothing in common with. And then when I would go play it, like, in the street with like my friends, it was just that select group of friends that were Portuguese, Brazilian, you know, Caribbean, and that's it. And then when I would like hang out with my other friends, they had no idea what I was doing. So I really didn't have anywhere to go. I couldn't bring it into my friend group. It's not until FIFA became like big. There was nothing that we could sort of center ourselves around as soccer fans. And I think, you know, listening to a lot of like African-American soccer players that come from areas like you, which is a little bit outside of such a densely populated area, when they talk about it, it's like the one Black kid I knew who skated, it was like a secret that he was a skater because he didn't want to get made fun of. He didn't want to get roasted all day. So he didn't really talk about it, even though he loved it. Soccer was kind of like that for me. And for, I would assume Christian, if he would have played a lot more when he was younger, because he picked it up much later. It was like, it's this thing of like, it's almost like this hidden secret.
And I think the benefit, at least people can learn, like, right, if you are an African-American person and you play soccer, you're going to end up learning 15 languages like Aaron West, okay? So
you're going to be talking to Buffon in his native tongue.
It's the most, it's like, even if you play basketball, you play pretty much any other sport, it's fairly homogenous, right? Where everybody's kind of from the same place to some degree. But soccer is one of those sports. Even
that's the biggest thing I tell people is like, soccer is the like single greatest icebreaker I've ever encountered in my life. Like, I know I can touch down in any country in the world and talk to somebody. I have one thing in common probably with them. They probably like soccer because it's the world's game. I can go to Italy, I can go to Spain, I can go to France. Anywhere where people enjoy the game, which is 99% of the world. I can have a conversation with somebody. But it's also
even
funny,
if they're not
like,
big fans, they know about it.
It's something that can like bridge the gap a little bit. And then they're like, oh, you're an American that likes soccer, and you might not be a piece of shit.
You're not wearing a NASCAR shirt.
It's funny though. I think that experience kind of shaped. I'm a pretty personal person. I don't like people that much, but also I just really do not like watching soccer with other people, because I grew up kind of watching it on my own. And especially now, I definitely don't really like going to bars, because it's that initial like conversation a lot of people will have with you where they assume you don't know anything about soccer. And then you got to like say something that And then they're like, how do you know so much about soccer?
Yeah.
You know a lot about soccer. And it's like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm just trying to watch the game. Can you leave me alone? Like,
This is
there's that bar of like, all right, I almost feel like I have to prove myself because I'm not going to sit here and like let you think that I don't know about this game. Because I know so much more than you. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I don't want to go through that. So I sit on my couch with my dog.
Yeah. This was my biggest issue when I started going to Arsenal bars. I was like, I don't cheer for everything good that happens because I'm used to watching it at home.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yes, you know, on my own. And everyone's got like songs and chants. So they assume I don't know anything about the sport because I'm not going along with all the chants. Like, bro, I could hear you.
Yeah.
I could hear the stands.
Like, I'm trying to concentrate, actually. Like, they can't hear you in London.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see this game.
Like, I'm just trying to watch.
I appreciate supporter culture, but I'm not really built like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't go around it because I don't want to be sitting there like, I hate everyone here. I want to fight every person here.
Yeah, I'm always like, this would be a great experience just holding this beer alone. This would be nice.
It's great.
Well, I don't feel that way. I like people. Anyway,
I do too, but it was a learning curve for me.
It's fun. I love the community.
I don't really mess with y'all like that. I'm about to go back home and sit in a dark place for a while.
Really do. And not text anyone back. That is the Aaron West story.
What do you think? I feel like we should just keep going because we're almost done.
Yeah, we're almost done.
We should just go through the entire episode.
Yeah.
There's no real point in stopping, right?
No big ass segment.
Okay, one big ass segment.
One big ass segment. Let's do it.
All right, so the other thing I want
You ain't pressed for time, are you?
I got to run by 2:45, but
all right, cool. Yeah, that'd be very fine.
That's perfect.
The last thing wanted to talk about was so apparently there is a tournament that is in the talks between Liga MX and MLS. The top 4 teams will play each other in a tournament towards the end of the season.
I was about to say, what part of the year is it?
So
towards the end of whose season? Probably Liga MX.
So okay, so the reason I'm bringing this up is because we interviewed Dan Hunt, the president and owner of FC Dallas. And
the Chicago Bulls.
And the Chicago. Well, they're like the Hunt family. That's more the Hunt family. Anyway, so, and the Kansas City Chiefs, they're rich. We interviewed rich people, right?
That's it.
Rich.
Yeah. We only.
Oh, you rich.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, how the hell did you not know who Roddy Ricch was when you interviewed Jadon Sancho?
Bro, I don't know. I had heard the song.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, Roddy Ricch? I think I'd heard it a long time ago before that. And then when he played it, I was like, oh, this is new. This is dope. And then I went back and my boy texted me. He was like, how you not know who Roddy Ricch is? And I was like, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I know, dude.
I don't know.
Aaron's on top of everything.
I don't know who Roddy Ricch is.
Like, stuff doesn't usually slip through like that. But
You don't know who Roddy Ricch is?
Who's Roddy Ricch? I don't know.
He's a young rapper. Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
Florida? Okay.
I believe.
I only pay attention to my favorite like English rappers, like 21 Savage. Anyway, that's really the only people I really look out for.
That was one of the funniest things though. Like, Jadon Sancho, huge international star. He like turned into like a little kid almost, like a very much like a little cousin. Like, oh, I gotta show you this song, buff. You gotta hear this.
Because you go, oh, cool. Is he from England? And he was like, he's from the States.
He was like, oh, I get to show you something.
Yeah, he was like, how the fuck you not know? He's like, I play professional soccer, and I'm up on Roddy Ricch. And
everybody has Spotify today.
Yeah. I watched that video like, how the
everybody
fuck is
has rap caviar.
There's too many. There's too many rappers every week. There's like 2-3 new ones.
There's a new one.
I can't keep up with these kids these days.
I cannot co-sign Blueface though. I can't do it.
Yeah, I love Blueface, bro. Mainly because he pisses people off so much.
I'm one of them. I can't get it.
I've heard 1 or 2 songs. Not a fan. I'm more of a fan of Blue Waffle. Anyway,
Google it, kids. Google it, folks.
Great, yo, bars on that dude. So this tournament between Liga MX and MLS. So the reason I bring it up, we spoke to Dan Hunt, and unprompted, he mentioned that he was like, "Hey, I would want to see even a league." He said he thought bigger, maybe a combined league, a super league between, and not even a super league, like with like the top 20 of Liga MX and MS.
He was like, everybody.
He's like a 40-team league. It seemed like a diabolical person. He was just like, yes,
we got like an insight into what rich people talk about when we're not around. He was like, yo, why don't we just throw everybody in there?
Yeah,
they can fight it out.
The profits.
Yeah,
you know,
like,
it was just
$75 hot dog.
What if we make a tournament where they try to kill each other.
What about soccer players in an MMA tournament?
Dan, you too far.
Yeah.
It's still soccer.
Dan, your mouth is salivating. There's blood. There's blood coming.
I love it when poor people die. What?
What was that?
No.
What?
Dan? But it did
Sorry, you weren't supposed to hear that.
So this seems like at least the, like in the owners meetings that maybe Dan was like, hey, how about a league with all the teams from Mexico and US and Canada, and then they were like, okay, well, how about like a tournament?
How about you relax? Take it back a couple minutes.
We'll pull back a little bit.
And this might be the appeasement, of MLS or CONCACAF and trying to figure out how to combine this stuff. But what do you think of a tournament? And then depending on when it is, this could be terrible, right? Like it could really interrupt the season. We have U.S. Open Cup.
I need to see when it's good. Dang, I keep kissing the mic. I need to see when it's gonna be, like the format, who's allowed in it, basically I really need to see when these matches are gonna be played until I like it.
I feel that if this does happen and it proves to be successful financially, and a player gets injured midseason or MLS teams look bad because it's in our preseason or something, this could be the beginning of pushing MLS towards getting on the exact same schedule as Liga MX.
I could see that.
So I'm willing to allow this to happen.
I wouldn't hate that at all.
Me neither.
European schedule, no, but we do need to figure out a compromise. And Liga MX schedule would be great.
It'd be great. It would give us enough time for the winter break.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it would allow. I mean, look,
because we can't do Europe's schedule when it's negative 20 in Chicago.
Not outside. Right? Not if you want to sell tickets.
It's strange to me that this is. I get that it's useful, but it's not necessarily the most important thing as far as getting the schedule to the European calendar. Only because other countries in Europe do not play in the same calendar. There's other cold countries,
like Scandinavia. They take a break because everything is frozen.
Exactly. So it's like it's not the most important thing in the world for the growth of the sport, but it's definitely on the list, not the highest.
It just
priority.
needs to not be like egregiously outside of everything on the international calendar.
Yeah.
Like, we just can't sit on an island, literally.
Yeah.
Like,
and now that teams like Newcastle are respectfully looking at our players and willing to buy them, I think it's enough where we don't have to be like, put it in the summer so that there's no other soccer competing against it. People will be forced to watch it. People will now be watching it. Newcastle fans will be kind of paying attention to MLS a bit more because they start to respect our players. Now's the time for those changes to start happening. I'm not one of these guys that like, that's the first chip to fall. Next thing you know, we're just like Europe. I don't believe that. But I do think getting on a schedule that mimics, the Scandinavian countries or how Iceland does it, they take long breaks in the middle. That's fine. You have the apertura and the clausura. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, it is a feeling like, I mean, so I think they're planning to do this possibly in the summer. I can't get like an exact time, but it seems like it will overlap with the MLS season.
Of course it will.
So
MLS is always the one who's like, no, that's cool. We'll
we'll do whatever you want.
We'll eat it. We'll be fine. We won't look bad. I promise.
Yeah, of course not.
And given that, to me, look, they tried the Campeones Cup right last year. Toronto FC played
Club America.
Club America, right? Yeah, I think they lost. And the game wasn't. Very few people in Toronto even went to the game.
Something like that, it takes time for people to care about it. Like once there's it's like an all-star game. Once there's actually something there,
but I'm more fine with that than I am with a tournament. Just having that one game, and you know
what I'm about. Forget this tournament. Liga MX All-Stars versus MLS All-Stars. That would be lit. Wild.
Yes, that would be very lit.
Yeah, I guess it would be kind of fun. I don't know. It's fine.
You do it in California or Texas every year.
But is that better?
We're doing the Rio Grande. Damn.
Is that better than the two champions playing each other?
I think so.
I don't know about that. I mean,
I think so. The All-Star. Put that in the Azteca. Boy.
But it being played in Mexico might be a little bit more entertaining.
Do both. Home and away. Home and away.
All right. I don't know.
Just do both.
Listen, before we go, Aaron, one of the reasons we had you on is because you're now a free agent. What do you tell the people what you want to do? Tell the people what they should be looking out for, or maybe who should hit you up.
I want to keep telling the stories that I have been, which is mainly I want to talk about minority issues very heavily in this sport. I want to cover it all, basically. Like I want it all. Give it all to me. I want Copa gave me a lot of juice, basically. Like, I didn't have a reel before I got to Copa. I had done one on-camera thing, so I'm very grateful to them that now, like, I have a year and a half of incredible experiences on camera. And I learned a lot.
Flyer miles now.
The frequent flyer miles. Like, I learned a lot, but I just want to keep the momentum going. Like, sitting down with players like Tim Weah, Tyler Adams, Marco Fabian, just getting to tell the stories of these players. One of the biggest things that I feel it's kind of my mission too is because, like, I've kind of surfed that line between, like, fan, player, is like getting to tell people that these players are real people, like kind of exposing the fact that they're not automatons, they're not machines, just like fleshing out the reality of their lives.
They're not the FUT card.
Right. They are not a shiny card on your PlayStation that you just get to mess around with. And I just want to keep that going, basically. Like, and I'm excited to see what comes next. Talk to a couple different people.
More into writing, or?
I want to do it all. I want to do some more writing. I want to stay with on-camera stuff, do some continue doing voiceover work. Like, just literally, I want to do it all. I'm also putting a focus on esports because I'm like, I play video games all the time. Like, I'm going to get paid for it now.
Yeah. I've been seeing you on Twitter. You've been talking about a lot more.
Like, I've been so heavily into it, and like,
and you're doing like Twitch and stuff now, right?
Yeah. I'm going to do some more of that on my own, like a kind of a little bit more personal brand building. But in general, just I want to tell these stories.
Yeah, man. There's so many stories to tell.
So many. Like, I talked to I have the privilege of being able to talk to some of these players and, like, have made friendships with some of these ladies and guys who are still in the game, and just getting to just chat with them every day. And I'm like, people need to know some of this stuff. They won't tell just anyone, and it needs to be done in a proper way. But there's
they
so
worry about
much.
their brand as well. And they have to worry about their media.
And we talked about this in the Black History Month roundtable. Like, a lot of players, I love it when players speak out, but a lot of players are afraid to speak out because when you're worrying about your place on the team day in and day out, you're not, like, trying to jeopardize that in any way.
No.
And I super respect the players that do take that chance and speak out, but I also understand this is a business. A lot of these guys and girls cannot say things. Yeah. And sometimes they can have a conduit for that, and I want to be that person.
Yeah. There you go. Well, Aaron, we're fans of you, and it's an honor and always a privilege to have you join us. And it's easy. It's one of those things where we were talking about it, like, yo, we heard about what's going on. We're like, yo, we got to get Aaron on the show. Like, it's just like, we
just want to help.
Yeah, we just want to help.
I don't know if this helped.
No, I appreciate it. This is like great. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's more, honestly, it's not even like, at least for me, it's not about like, you're clearly a talented person. It's not about helping you get to your whatever next thing, but it is like, yo, just to get some of that Aaron West energy on this show that's the privilege for us. So,
and also, like, we talk all the time about helping the sport and building community. We do that amongst ourselves. You know what I mean? We try to big up the people that we think deserve that big up. Not that we're tastemakers or anything like that, but if we
see the drip though.
Yeah, no, I know, right? Thank you. Like, if
shout out Sean Francis.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. We're gonna put up a picture. But if people have helped us as we're coming along, and that's like, it's what we should all do. Everybody eats.
Everybody eats. Aaron West, you know how we always end this show. You're
gonna yell cool. You'll know exactly when and how.
You'll get it. It'll make all the sense in the world. Thank you again for joining us. I'm glad you got to be on the entire thing.
Yeah, and the whole damn thing.
Big man team.
Yes, and we got to chop it up.
That's a great 21 Savage impression.
You already know, mate.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you. Make sure you leave a review. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. We're almost at 2,000 YouTube subscribers.
Wow.
Crazy, huh?
YouTube is a harsh landscape too. Like, that isn't an accomplishment.
We pull back a little bit.
I'm serious, bro. YouTube is horse.
Yes.
What's your social media stuff so people can know and make sure follow
West. A3Ys _ West.
Hilarious on Twitter. One of the funniest people on Twitter, and I do not say that lightly. We have a lot of comedians that are friends with us, but Aaron is hilarious on Twitter.
I'm jealous he gets to retweet some things before I do. I'm like, how the fuck you find this shit though?
You should see my tweet deck. It's like the Matrix.
He got tweet deck.
What I do love is that Aaron is very connected to like the comedy timeline that I follow. So like you had retweeted Rodimus Prime.
Yeah.
Right? So from the black guy who tips, right?
Yeah.
It was I know through another comedian. He does a very popular podcast out of the DC area, I believe. And I'm like, okay. Aaron connected to comedy, homie.
Oh, Aaron in the building.
All right. He got his fingers in everything, right?
Everything, bro.
Well, not anymore. He's engaged now.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, congratulations. Almost 10 years and not having my finger in it.
So with that said, my name is Christian Polanco. For Aaron West, my name is Christian Polanco.
And I'm Alexis Guerrero. So together, what are we?
The Cooligans!
Ooh, we so gully.